What's up? Who's in the chat room right now? Let me know if you can hear me. Been messing with the volume thing for a little bit. Uh, Anybody there? I see one person in the chat. Just can't see who you are. Let me know if I'm coming out good. You know. Hey Sharon, how you doing? There's sunshine. Good, good. Y'all can hear me. We'll get started here in a minute. Let some people roll in, and we'll get started and just chill for a moment. Thanks, Sharon. Appreciate it. Thank you, sunshine. I hope everybody's having a good weekend. I'm loving the cold weather here in Florida. It's been really nice the last 2 days. Really nice. Yeah, I'm not doing bad, Sharon. A lot of work. Working a lot lately. I'm working nonstop, working 7 days a week. Um, it's just been busy, busy, busy. But health wise, I'm doing pretty good. I woke up breathing. It's always a good start of the day. Cold, wet, and raining. I can deal with the cold, but man, I wouldn't want to. Not a cold, rainy day. That's depressing. That's depressing. Unless you got a bowl of chili, then it makes it worth it. All right. So far, we got three people. It's yucky. Yeah, I bet it is, Sharon. Bet it is. Oh man, we'll get started here. I'm happy with 3 people or 30 people. Doesn't really matter. We're gonna have fun. All right. All right. We'll get started here. All right. What a day. What a day. What a day. Got off work at 2 o'clock this afternoon, got home around 3 and started getting ready for this podcast. It's like every week when I get prepared for one of these things, I have to go through steps. And the first thing is turn on the computer because I got to get any updates or anything out of the way, because there was one time that I didn't do that and I didn't turn the computer on until 5 o'clock. And I think it was the time I was doing it at 6. And then all of a sudden my computer wanted to update and it took literally right up to about 2 minutes before I was going live. And it finally, because I was about to do it on my phone, then finally the computer was done and I was able to jump in there and get it done right and stuff like that. Um, so no problems this time. I got home plenty of time to turn it on, get it updated because there were a couple updates. It's a brand new laptop. I purchased this laptop specifically. I got another one which works fine. It's great, but I wanted something new with a lot more kick to it because we'll be starting that podcast here on December 8th, and that's the first thing we'll discuss is the podcast. So really excited about it. It's really an opportunity. Well, break it down for you. This is not going to affect this channel at all. This is what I do. I go out in the woods on the weekends. I put out videos for you guys. I throw some shorts out there with some music for entertainment. And then I do this right here every other week. That's not going to change. This is my channel. I enjoy it and I love doing it. And I'm going to continue to do that. And it's the same with Johnny Two Bears with Sasquatch Encounter Brigade. He still has his channel. He's still doing his research. He's still doing his thing. What it was just the two of us collaborating. And he had contacted me one night and asked me, "Hey, I want to do a podcast. Would you like to be my co-host?" And I said, "Absolutely." You know what I mean? Um, so that's what we've been working on. We've been working on it for a little bit, a month, maybe 6 weeks or something like that. Trying to decide what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, and stuff like that. We'll go over some of that tonight too. Um, so that's where the computer came in. I said, well, I'm going to buy a new computer. I usually don't wear a mic. I just use what's on the laptop. But I wanted to get a microphone just to, make sure that we have good sound quality and stuff like that when we do the podcast. Um, that's what we're waiting on. Was Johnny was still waiting for a new microphone and this and that. Still trying to figure out StreamYard. So we got that down and ready. God forbid we have any glitches on the first night, but y'all have seen podcasts. It happens. You run into little problems and stuff like that. And we expect it. We just hope nothing major, and that we can work through them and have a successful show and stuff like that. So really looking forward to it. It's just me and Johnny are not podcasters. We're researchers. Okay. But we're going to bring that knowledge to you guys. And when we interview people, we're going to interview them, as researchers. We're going to, when somebody tells us their encounter or tells us, what they saw and what they did, we're going to have a lot of questions for them, but we're going to do it where when they come on, it's all theirs. They're going to talk. Okay. And they're going to tell their whole story and stuff. And we're going to be listening and stuff like that. We're going to try to interject very little during, the time that they're telling their encounter or whatever it is. But at the end, that's when we're going to come in with questions and very specific questions and stuff about their encounter and stuff like that, because me, I'm a big believer in asking questions. Sometimes questions come out, they're questions that you wouldn't expect a researcher to ask, because you'll be like, why is he asking that question? It sounds like he's skeptic, stuff like that. Well, I've explained that a lot of times, is you have to go into everything with a little bit of skepticism, because skepticism is what creates questions, and questions create answers. And that's what we're doing is, getting with these people and talking to them, and then getting to the nuts and bolts and understanding more. Because sometimes asking questions, you can draw out a little bit more from the people and what their encounter was and stuff like that. So we're attacking it as researchers and stuff like that. One of the things, if you saw the initial intro for the show, I put that on the Sasquatch UNredacted podcast Facebook page. So if you're not subscribed to that, please do, because that's where we're going to announce future guests and different things. That's also a place where if you want to reach out to us and say, hey, I'd love to be on your show, I had an encounter and I want to tell you about it, we'd love to have you on there. But one of the things that you'll see on that intro is at the end of it, there's a little glimpse of an affidavit. Now, what this affidavit is, let me explain this. It's not like something that is ever going to be held against you or anything like that. But we've been a part of a lot of podcasts. We watch a lot of podcasts. You guys watch a lot of podcasts. We're all interested in the subject. And sometimes you walk away going, was that the truth? Did that guest tell us the truth? See what I'm saying? Well, our podcast is about getting to the truth, getting to the facts. Okay. So we can build more information. So we have this affidavit. It's not mandatory. You could choose to sign it or not sign it. We'll send it to you through an email or whatever, and stuff like that. And basically all you're saying is, I'm telling the truth. This is what happened to me. This is how it happened, and so forth. We take those as our records. Just Johnny's the one who's actually going to have them. And down the road, when people say, well, I don't believe in Bigfoot, we can hold up 100 of these sheets and say, here's 100 people that signed an affidavit saying this thing exists. This is what they ran into. And, you can't say these 100 people are liars. You know what I mean? So it's more of one of those things because me and Johnny are really big on integrity. And that's why on my show, you always get the truth. You may not like what I have to say, or you may like what I say, but it's always going to be the truth. That's what we're always going to do. And we really hope and we expect that the guests that we have on are telling us the truth, that this is what happened to me. That affidavit is just them saying, I'll sign it because this is the truth. And that's fine. If you don't, that's fine too. It doesn't mean you're lying. You know what I mean? People have their reasons for not signing it, and that's fine. That's okay. It's not something that we're going to hold you down to. We're still interested in hearing the story and knowing what's going on and stuff like that. Um, but if you come on the show, we really want as much detail as we can. I mean, granted, some people don't like to tell a location or something like that because we're going to have researchers on there too. Researchers are very hushed about locations. It's not like we don't want to share. That's not the issue. That's not why researchers do not tell where they're researching. The reason is if I told you that this is where I research and I tell you the exact location, people are going to go out there and hoax. They're going to go out there and build structures, or they're going to go out there and leave footprints, or they're going to do something. So then we go out there, we find this stuff, we present this stuff, and they're laughing, going, I put that out there because I knew where he's researching. That's why researchers don't tell people where they're researching. See what I'm saying? Sometimes we'll even throw you a loop and say, oh, yeah, I'm going to be up at the Ocala National Forest this weekend. And actually, we're going someplace else. It's only to prevent people from hoaxing us and stuff like that, especially at nighttime. If we're out there, walking around and stuff like that, there could be somebody out there banging on a tree and we're like, oh, what is that? You know what I mean? That's one of the reasons why. And I've been invited, a couple times where these big groups are getting together. They want to go out there and research and, hey, Rick, we want you to come out there and blah, blah, blah. Well, I don't do them because when you've got a dozen people tromping through the woods, everybody's going in their own direction. Some guy on another group might hit a tree and you're a quarter mile or half a mile away and you hear it and you're thinking, oh crap, I just got a wood knock. And you didn't. It's somebody else doing it because nobody's communicating with each other and stuff. Because there's no way you're going to have a dozen radios for all these people. And then on top of that, you're not going to, a lot of these people, I don't want them to have my personal cell phone number. I don't want them calling me saying, hey, I'm about to do a wood knock, So those big groups and stuff like that usually don't work out very well. They just don't work out. They mean well. Being invited is I'm honored, and they mean well. It just doesn't work out. So we don't do that, So when researchers come on, we probably won't press the issue on where, other than the state. If they want to tell us the state that they're researching, like everybody knows I'm in Florida. This is where I research and this is where I go and stuff like that. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, roughly 5 different locations that I rotate through every once in a while. I'll do those 5 locations. And then there are some that are further away that on occasion I'll go up there. But it's got to be a small group. Like if I meet up with like Mid-Florida Bigfoot Research Group, which is Marie DeMont, her and her guys, if they say, hey, Rick, you want to come up and stuff, I'll go up for the day or something like that and go out with them and stuff like that. But it's not a bunch of people branching off into the woods. You're staying as a group. You're going through the group and stuff like that. So like I said, with the researchers, we won't press, but it's always good to know what state. And like I said, this information that we're collecting, because remember, we're still researchers. And these papers is really part of the research where we can say, we have this person's account. If they want to say where when they're on the show and they want to discuss where they were and all that, that's fine. And we'll jot that down as part of the research to say, wow, I'm not far from there. I did not know there was a sighting there and stuff like that. So it really opens it up for researching and stuff like that because stuff like that we share with other researchers. I have no problem sharing with another researcher. We're just cautious about it as far as, there are some, what's the word I want to use? There's some researchers out there that you just can't trust. And So you kind of watch what you say around them and stuff like that. Hey, Alan, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. So we got Sunshine, we got Sharon, we got Alan. Who else we got? If you're in the chat room, just say hi. Say hi. I'll call you out and say hi back. Um, so uh, um, so that's the goal of the podcast, and we've got a few people. I've met some great friends in the Bigfoot community. A lot of names you guys have heard of, a lot of people you know or seen and stuff like that. People I've met at the Bigfoot conference and stuff like that. They've all been fantastically supportive and said they'd be on the show. So I look forward to at some point having those people on the show and stuff like that. Um, and talking about what they're doing in the research field, their personal encounters that got them in the research field and stuff like that, because that's what happens, guys. If you have an encounter, that's usually the first stepping stone into going out looking for Bigfoot. You know what I mean? It's a rabbit hole. It's a rabbit hole. And that's why I've done videos in the past about equipment and stuff like that. And gone over, how you can do this on a budget. You don't have to break the bank. You can get a, $300, $400, $500 night vision that works just as good as a flare or something like that. That's $3,000 or $4,000. It depends on what you want to do. Yes, is one better than the other? Absolutely, that's what you're paying for. But you can still do research on a budget and stuff like that. Most research is just documenting. That's why I film everything. You don't see a lot of photographs in my research, because we all know, we've been there, we've seen them. Too many people putting out blob squatches or misidentified things and stuff like that. There's always questions when it comes to photos. So everybody knows my goal is to film this thing moving, in motion. I want to see it and film it as it moves away, hopefully not coming towards me. That's the last thing I want, is that thing coming towards me. But it's about documenting and stuff like that. And like I said, our podcast is not only entertainment and talking to people and stuff like that. We're gonna have fun too, because I'm a retard. I like to play around. I like to joke around, and especially if I start getting, a little tired or something like that, I start to act a fool. I've done it a few times. There's no doubt. So we're gonna have fun as well, and that's one of the things me and Johnny were talking about is, we'll do this as long as it's fun. If it ain't fun anymore, then why do it? You know what I mean? We don't do this for money or anything. Like, my channel's not monetized or anything like that. So I don't plan on ever having anything that's monetized and making money or anything like that. I have no idea what that noise was on my computer just now. No clue. But anyways, I do it for free. I just like to get the information out there and get it to you guys. So like I said, so we're going to do people's encounters and stuff like that. And just so everybody knows, we want to stick to Bigfoot. Okay. I know people, have a dogman sighting, if that's what they want to call it, or anything metaphysical and stuff. If you had something metaphysical, we'll listen to it and stuff like that. But that's not really the direction we go as researchers, because and we'll get into that, because that's part of the topic tonight, is the science of Bigfoot and stuff like that. And I'd like to get in a little bit into that and stuff like that. So, but like I said, it's going to be a fun show. Johnny's a great guy. And to be honest with you, what drove me to Johnny, and I've told Johnny this, was I was watching his show and watching his research and stuff like that, because he put out these videos every once in a while about what's going on in the property around his house. His property butts up to a preserve. I'm big on preserves, just so you know. If you can find a location that you can hike or visit and stuff like that, that does not allow hunting, fishing, stuff like that. It's mostly for just hiking and biking and stuff. All the animals out there are safe. They're not being hunted or anything like that. And it's a large property. Like The preserve I go to is 3,000 acres. It butts up to another 9,000 acre state park. So the preserve is a great place because I don't have to compete with hunters. Hunting season is very difficult for Bigfoot, for researchers to look for Bigfoot because we truly believe the hunting pushes them away. Just like any animal, they leave the area when they know that there's danger and stuff like that. So I like preserves because there's no hunting or anything like that, and you can go out there and see wildlife all the time, which is, I enjoy that. I love seeing deer and different animals while I'm out there, and I try to take pictures of them when I can and share them, whenever I can. Sometimes in my videos, I'll throw in some nature shots and stuff that just things I thought were just beautiful, and I want to share that moment and stuff like that. Um, so we're looking forward to it. December 8th at 8 o'clock. It's a Sunday. That's where we're going to do the premiere show. I don't know. It's really, up to us on what, right now it's Sundays. I know it may conflict with some other channels. There's some channels I like to watch on Sundays. And now it's going to conflict with that because I'll be on my channel. So I have to go back and watch theirs on at a later time. But things change, schedules change, things like that. So maybe that date will change. I don't know. Maybe you guys will be on the show or be in the chat on that show and say, hey, this is a better night. I think you'll get more people and stuff like that. We're open to suggestions, always open for suggestions, because that's what creates growth and stuff like that. So, so we definitely listen to you guys when you guys have some ideas and stuff like that. I've gotten ideas on equipment from people. When I first started the channel, I sucked. I was horrible. And you can see it. If you go back to my channel and go back to the very beginning, it was junk. I mean, it was good evidence. I was finding evidence, stuff like that, but my presentation of what I found and this and this. So as time went by, I started learning. People would hit me up and say, hey, try this or try that and stuff like that. One person said, hey, I get seasick watching your videos. Could you get something that stabilizes the video? So I did. I went out and bought a Osmo and I used that and stuff like that. So now my stuff is very steady and stuff. I spent $1,200 on a really, really good cell phone that has stabilization, 100 times zoom, stuff like that. It's fantastic. It shoots in high definition. It's really nice, and I really enjoy that. So I do take your suggestions. I do, when you guys comment on any of my videos, I do try to respond as soon as possible, and stuff like that. You guys are great. You guys keep it respectful and you guys keep it clean. It's very, very rare I get anybody that's negative or anything like that. So I greatly appreciate it. And we hope that carries over into the podcast. We want people to be respectful. It needs to be a safe place for people to have a conversation and stuff like that. And like I said, when we do it, we're going to save questions and stuff for the end. We want to hear the person's encounter. Okay, that's key, is listening. They're the guest. They're volunteering their time. They're coming on and they're telling their story. So we want to give them our undivided attention while they do that, and we save questions and stuff at the end. If you guys are asking chats in the chat room, I might be jotting those down or something like that and asking them. I may not remember who asked the question, but I'm going to try and jot down what I can so I can ask those questions for you and stuff like that. So we do pay attention to what you want and what you want to get out of that particular type of channel and stuff like that. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a learning curve. So please be patient with us. And if you haven't subscribed to it, I did put it at the beginning. It's the Sasquatch UNredacted podcast. We do have a Facebook page. So if you join the Facebook page, I'm the moderator. So I will get on there. I will approve you and get you in on there. That's a location. That's one of the locations that will post what's coming up, so you can stay informed. You can also reach out to us at sasquatchunredacted@gmail.com. So that's a place where you can email us and say, hey, I've got an encounter. Could you reach out to me? And I'd love to discuss it with you, and we can get you on the show and discuss your encounter. We'd love to do that. So that's Sasquatch Unredacted at gmail.com. And the Facebook is Sasquatch Unredacted Podcast. And as you know, we got the YouTube channel up now. Not a lot on it. We haven't started the shows yet. I'm posting little videos, little things, notifying, just reminding people it's coming, it's coming. So if you want to go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel, that'd be fantastic. That would be awesome. That way you do get alerts, you do know when the shows are starting and stuff like that. So that's another way to keep informed. I'm really good about getting stuff out there. I will post on the channel. Right now, when you start a new channel and you don't have a lot of subscribers or you don't have a lot of content, YouTube is very restrictive on what you can and cannot do until you build it up a little bit. So we'd like to build it up as quickly as possible. I think some of the restrictions go away at, I want to say it's at 500 subscribers. So it's going to take us a bit to get there. But if we can get there quickly, that's just a better step where we can get more out to you guys. And there's more that we can do on the YouTube channel once we get to that point. So it's very important to get subscribers and people that hit that like button and stuff like that, you know. I'm trying to read it. I'm sorry. I got reading glasses or they're transition. So if you see me looking like this, I'm not just stupid. I'm actually reading too. So it says, y'all that do research, you all study the subject of a single type of cryptozoology. This means the study of this mysterious animal. Just saying. Oh, did you happen to read the comment I posted? You got to remind me on the comment because at this moment I wouldn't remember it. Yeah, we do stick to one cryptid. And the reason why is, listen, my plate is full. My plate is full when I go out there just looking for Bigfoot. I do believe in other cryptids. I really do. I don't. What was the name of that one? Um, Basically, it's evidently full grown, but it's like a miniature Sasquatch. You know, it's very short, maybe 3 or 4 feet. It's not an infant. It's actually full grown, and people have had sightings of these things and stuff like that. So, um, I think that thing could exist because there was one time I thought maybe I saw something briefly, just really briefly, and when I got prepared to film it, it must have got wind of me or whatever and didn't come off this trail that I thought it was coming down because I only saw the top of it. So I don't know what it was, but it made me thinking that, you know, if Bigfoot exists, which I 100% know it exists, then I'm sure there are other cryptids. Now, I think a lot of cryptids are misidentified. Um, you know, like Dogman. I'll tell you straight up, I don't think Dogman is what they think it is. I think it's a misidentified Bigfoot. They're going to have different facial features. They're going to have different things. The issues I have with Dogman is we're not seeing prints. When Melba Ketchum did her DNA study, they had 100 samples. Now, what are the chances of 100 samples being all Sasquatch or unknown? But there was no canine. There was nothing related to dogs or wolves or anything like that. It was all either identified or it was primate slash human or whatever. You know what I mean? But nothing Dogman related at all. And I think that evidence by itself says a lot that, you know, how come you got 100 samples or maybe it was in more than 100 samples, but yet that cryptid doesn't pop up at any shape or form. When I'm in the woods and I find hair, there's no telling what it is until it's tested. There's no telling what it is. But I can't throw it in the bag and say, hey, look, I got Dogman hair because I believe in Dogman. It could be anything. It could be a Sasquatch, or it could be a Wendigo, or it could be any other cryptid, or it could be a bear, a deer, or any other known species. So if you've got something in a baggie, get it tested. That's the only way you can know. You cannot sit there and claim it unless you get it tested, unless you saw the animal that left the hair. Okay. There was one of my videos, we were out in the woods and we had pushed so far back that we had got to the county line. It's very rare I make it that far back because it's a long hike. But we get back to this fence and I'm walking the fence and there's a tuft of hair on the top barbed wire. There's a perfect tuft of hair. And I recognized it right off the bat. It was the white hair on the chest and belly of a deer. So evidently a deer jumped that fence, and it was a pretty high fence. and got snagged or got the barbed wire rubbed it and pulled some hair. So I didn't collect it. I documented it, took a video of it and stuff like that. But I pretty much knew what it was because we have absolutely zero sightings of a white Sasquatch in this area. So I mean, some people have claimed to have seen a white Sasquatch. I have not. So I saw it and I recognized it as deer hair, and I left it as deer hair and moved on. Um, but like I said, if I had it tested, it would have came back and it would have said deer. But that's the only way 100%. So I'm really big on, if you're going to collect that type of evidence, I can collect that type of evidence, but you're looking at a cost thing now. If you're on a budget and you want to do this thing, that's an added expense to have something sent somewhere, have it tested, and get the results and stuff like that. That can be expensive. I know a lot of researchers that say, "Oh, I got a refrigerator full of hair and scat and all this." Well, it does you no good sitting in your freezer. If you're not getting it tested, then you got a freezer full of poop. Get it tested, find out what it is, and help move the ball forward down the field. You see what I'm saying? So I'm all for that, especially one of the things I enjoy the most, and this is getting in, we're kind of transitioning to the science of Bigfoot, is I'm big on eDNA. eDNA is environmental DNA. Now, one of the ways this works is if you go to a pond or a water source or something like that, I prefer to see somebody do it on stagnant water, like a pond, a lake, or something like that, not a moving river. But if you go to a pond or something and you take a number of water samples, and you can have that tested, and it will list all the animals or whatever that use that water source. So you'll get bear DNA and this DNA, but all of a sudden you'll get something that's unknown. See what I'm saying? So eDNA is, I think, is a very, very good tool, letting people know that, okay, we have an unknown, or it comes up primate, for example. Wait a minute, primate? We don't have monkeys in Minnesota. You know what I mean? I say that, somebody's going to pop on. Yeah, we do. We got monkeys in Minnesota. Um, but it lets you know that, okay, here's a creature that is a primate or unknown, and it's using this water source. So I think eDNA is really, really a valuable thing. The great thing about eDNA is you can collect it every time you go out. Granted, it's a cost. You got to, now, if you're going to collect eDNA, don't collect it and throw it in the freezer. You want to collect it, and you want to get it sent off for testing and stuff like that. Um, like I said, I don't know how expensive it is to throw DNA out there and have somebody test it. But I would probably say that it's expensive, especially if you do it a lot. If you did it once or twice a year, maybe not so bad. But if you do it every time you go out, you're collecting eDNA samples and stuff like that. It probably could, get kind of pricey after a while. I think another scientific tool that none of us can use, but I think it's really interesting. And if we can get a university or a large scale study that's funded, I think LIDAR would be a fantastic tool. Now, I say LIDAR, right now, LIDAR isn't where it needs to be. LIDAR, y'all have all seen it, they can do it by satellite, or they can do it by aircraft, and they fly over an area, and it takes away the forest, it takes away the canopy, and gives you a model of what the ground terrain looks like, without anything obscuring your view. Okay, it comes out on the computer, and you can look at it and say, okay, the trees cover this, but there is a structure right there. That's how they're finding these structures in Brazil and South America and all these places where there was past civilizations, because they're using LIDAR, and they're finding these square areas where a building used to be or something like that. So I think LIDAR is a very important thing. The problem with LIDAR right now is it takes away the topographical. Now, if we can get LIDAR to the stage where it can actually pick up biologicals, like as it goes through, it's picking up animals, like you'll be able to see a bear, or you'll be able to see a herd of deer or something like that, and you can recognize that on LIDAR. I think that would open it up, and we would answer this thing really quick, flying over large areas. you can just imagine the amount of area a plane can do in an hour or a day. They can cover thousands of miles. And if there's a Sasquatch in there, it'll show up on LiDAR and you can say, look, there's something right there. It looks bipedal, blah, blah, blah. They can do the math, figure out heights and stuff like that. So I think LiDAR in the future would be a very valuable tool. I'm very, as I watch LiDAR and stuff like that, it's progressing fairly quickly. It's just it's not at a point where we could use it, in the research field or academics who can afford to hire a plane and fly LiDAR or something like that. It's just not there yet. I hope it does in my lifetime, because I truly think that's the one piece of equipment or one piece of science that will help out a lot. I think it'll open up, because they'll use it for a number of things. They can use it to count herds. They can use it to count, different, how many bear in an area. So it's going to have a lot of pros when you use LiDAR. But I think in that process, when you're looking for something else and all of a sudden something pops up and you're like, dude, there's a huge, bipedal person down here. What the heck? We're out in the middle of nowhere. Well, it might be a Sasquatch. See what I'm saying? So I think LiDAR is extremely, extremely important. A lot of people said, no, it's going to be drones with thermal and all that. They work great. I love my drone, and it's great for getting great footage. I use it as a research tool, as in flying into an area prior to me going out. I like to see above and see what's out there and stuff like that, because if I'm flying that thing and I see a bear, I'm going in another direction, that type of thing. Sometimes I fly in areas that I can't get to because there's a body of water between me and them, or a canal or something like that. Well, I can launch the drone, fly over there, look around, record everything, go back, rewatch it, and see whatever. Matter of fact, when I first got the drone, I flew it over this one area as a test flight, and it wasn't until I actually produced put it as part of my film, that I went back and to rewatch the film itself, and I see like 3 or 4, maybe 5 deer running across this one area. I didn't see that when I was flying the drone. So going back and rewatching this stuff is a fantastic tool for me, because it's recorded. I can go back and look. So, but like I said, drones have limitations. They can't see through tree cover and stuff like that, so that makes it extremely difficult to get something with night vision or infrared or thermal, anything like that. They're highly expensive. They're very, very, very expensive. We're talking in excess of $20,000 or $30,000, and now you have to go into the expense of getting a very specific license to fly that drone. Every time you fly it, you have to submit paperwork, permission to fly the drone. You have to get an RID, I think it's called, what is it, RIF, or RID mount on the drone, so that the FFA, or what is it, the federal, what is it, FAA, they can know that you're in the air, and they can literally see where your aircraft is at. You know what I mean? All that costs money. To get that particular license is extremely expensive, and I hear it's a very, very tough test. Very tough test. So I went with a smaller drone. It's under 250 grams. It shoots in 4K. It records all that. It's a great drone. But because of its size and everything else, I don't have a license. And I just got to be careful of where I'm flying it, make sure it's a legal place for me to fly it. And there's certain rules I have to abide by, like not flying over vehicles. I can't fly over people, stuff like that. But I don't need any specific license to fly it, anything like that. As long as I'm not making money off of it, I'm fine. You know what I mean? But if you get a drone and you want to fly it and you have a monetized channel on YouTube, now you're looking at problems, because you have to have a commercial flying license for the drone, which is expensive. And again, you got to take this test. It's a very difficult test. And if you don't do that, there are people out there, there are trolls out there that will monitor your channel and go, oh, he's flying a drone, and I want to know if I'm going to report him just because they want to be a pain in the butt. And I've seen it happen. I watched a show where the couple were doing that, and they got hit. Literally, the very first offense was a six-figure fine from the FAA. I don't have six figures. See what I'm saying? So I stick to a smaller drone, under 250 grams, and they have a one test you take. It's very easy. Kindergartner can pass it. I think it's called the truth test. You take it online. It's free, and that's all you have to have. You download that you took that class. You put it on your phone. So if you ever stop by anybody, you can show them that I do have the truth. Look at my drone. It says right on it. It's 249 grams. I'm fine. I'm flying it in an area that is approved. I'm not flying it over people. I'm not flying it over traffic, anything like that. So you're good to go. And I'm not doing it for money. Okay. That's where a lot of people, that's where they make a mistake. If you get paid to fly that drone, I don't care if it's a wedding. If you go to a wedding and they're really weird on the law. The law states that you can only fly it for fun, for enjoyment purposes only. Okay. But if you fly it and somebody says, hey man, I'm getting married, could you do some aerial stuff? And I'll pay you $100 or whatever. And they find out you got paid for doing that. You are no longer doing it for fun. You're actually doing it for pay. Now, another way is if somebody says, hey, could you fly it over my roof? I think I got a roof leak, and just let me know. You're not flying it for fun. You're flying it for a purpose for somebody else. They will fine you for that. So they're very, very big and sticklers for the rules. So my channel is not monetized. I use it for footage only. I'm not getting paid. I'm not doing it for anybody else. I'm doing it for my own enjoyment purposes, and your guys are enjoying the videos. So I'm pretty safe. And I stick to those guidelines at all times. But like I said, I think LiDAR is way better than a drone, but of course, none of us can afford a LiDAR, so we go with drones, and some of us can't afford the really expensive drones with thermal and night vision and all that. I think they're fantastic, but they get up there. They get up there. I think I talked to Randy Harrington, if I remember right. I mean, his drone's like $20,000. You know what I mean? And that's like, wow. You know what I mean? That's taken out a loan. You know what I mean? I'm not that invested in Bigfoot. This is a hobby. This is what I do. This is what, keeps me active and keeps me healthy and stuff like that to the best I can. And I enjoy it. And I take you guys along, and you get to see what I'm doing. A lot of times I don't get anything. That's actual squatching. That's like the science, the science actually dictates it's impossible to go out there every single week and get something. So you see these channels that they're all the time posting stuff. Oh, look what I got. Look what I got. Look what I got. That's a big red flag for me. That's a huge red flag. You know what I mean? I've been doing this for quite some time now. I'm in the woods all the time, all the time. Every opportunity I get. Right now I'm working on weekends, but I see a light in a tunnel that should change in a couple of weeks. I'll be right back into the woods. And it's just impossible to go out there. I mean, we already understand it. This creature is already hard to find, but on top of it, it's trying not to be found. So to go out there and say you saw it every single time, you got people that say, oh, I've seen it 20 times. I've seen it 10 times. I've seen it 6 times. That's a big red flag for me. Share the information then. Share it. Tell us where you're going, that you're seeing it this many times, and you'll have a lot of researchers out there trying to prove this thing. Because once we prove it, we're good to go. See what I'm saying? We're really good to go. Next time you go out into your research areas, please take more nature pics. You take great pictures. I love the black and white ones, especially. Thank you, Sunshine. Maybe I'll do that. I'll start at the end of the video, because the video is what's important. But at the end of the video, maybe I'll throw in some of the nature shots that I take while I'm out there and stuff like that. Sometimes when I'm out there, I enjoy it so much, and it's so beautiful out in the nature that I'll see a trail, or I'll see a tree, or I'll see a deer, or I'll see something that I'm like, wow, that's beautiful. And I'll take a photo of it. Sometimes I put it in black and white. A lot of people like black and white. I'm a big black and white fan. And I'll start. If I remember when I'm doing my editing, I'll throw some of those pictures in there so you guys can see them and stuff like that. I actually use some of them. If you go through the video, I don't know if you guys watch it all the way to the end, but if you ever watch my videos to the very end, I do a couple of things. I recognize other podcasts and other channels that I respect and I like, so I put them on there to give them some kudos and you guys them out. Um, I always do a thing, for the most part, in memory of Carrie Arnold and Mr. Carpenter, and let them know, that we're still thinking about them. But the background on those pictures are some of my pictures. I just put the picture on there and I put the text on it, but that's my pictures usually in the background of those end shots or the end of my videos and stuff like that. So if you want to see them, just fast forward to the end if you want to and stuff like that. So um, but the video is what's important to me. I want people to watch the video and look at the video. Sometimes I get creative if I have time out there. I get a little bit more creative and slip in some B footage while I'm out there and stuff like that. Mostly it's time restraints on what I've got going on and what I do. Sometimes I'm rushed. I got so much to do, and I just put the video together as quickly as I can, as nice as I can, but as quickly as I can, and I get it out to you guys and stuff like that. The shorts that I put on my video with the music and stuff like that, they're just shorts from the video, areas that I'm just walking or something like that. They're just for fun. They're entertainment. Okay. You're not going to watch a short and see a Bigfoot because I'm going to throw that in the main video. The shorts are there just for entertainment, for you guys to listen to some good music for 60 seconds and watch some nature and stuff like that, because I'm a big nature lover. That's just me. I love nature and I love animals. Um, God forbid somebody hurts an animal in front of me. I tell you, I'm big on animals. I love animals. Um, I watch a lot of animal videos and stuff like that. And I tell you what, this is really funny, and it's kind of weird. I was watching this video today on cats, okay, and this guy does these short videos, these little 60-second shorts like I do, and he explains cat language. And the one I watched today was he was telling you how to speak cat to tell a cat to come here, and it was something weird like macaw or something like that. So I'm at work and we got some cats that roam the property out there and stuff like that. And at this point I don't see any cats. I'm on patrol. I'm checking things out, looking at things, and so I yelled I go macaw. And sure enough, this cat came running right up to my ankles. So I'm like, okay, this is either coincidental or this guy ain't crazy at all. It actually works. So animals are very interesting. I love them. I mean, I'm not so much as a cat person. I probably wouldn't own a cat. Um, I can't believe I missed this. Missed what? Oh, it's Don. Hey, Don, how you doing? Um, so, but I'm a big dog lover. Love dogs. That's my biggest thing. And I don't own a dog or anything like that. Hey, Don. Um, I have this saying that I'm a responsible pet owner. I don't own one. My schedule is way too much. I'm way too busy. It would not be fair to have an animal that would sit in the house all day waiting for me to come home. Sometimes I'm working. Like the other day, I went to work thinking I'm just going to be there for 8 hours. I end up being there for 24 hours straight. That's really unfair if I had an animal at home holding their mud, waiting for me to get home so I can let them out. So I don't own animals, but I love them. So when I go to people's houses and they have a dog or something like that, I love them. I love them. So I'm a big animal lover, and like I said, God forbid if I'm ever present when somebody harms an animal in any way. I don't kill snakes. I don't kill spiders. I think everything has its place. You know what I mean? So sometimes in my office there will be a bug in there. I try to scoop him up, take him outside, and toss him outside if I can. Um, but that's just me. I'm not saying you have to. Bugs are disgusting. So if you kill them, I'm not upset about that. I just don't. Um, so anyways, back to the science. Like I said, the big things for me is eDNA. I love that. I think it's got a place, and I think it needs to be used more often. DNA is always good, but that eDNA I think is better because it's more widely available. It's easier to test, and you could do it a lot frequent. You could do it almost every time you go out if you want to take a sample or something like that. I think it's really important. Um, because like I said, you got a lot of people that claim they have a lot of DNA sitting at their house, but they're not doing anything with it. Well, it's worthless. It's actually worthless. You know what I mean? Like this. I don't know if you ever noticed this. See this? This is worthless. This check up here, I keep it up there to let me know how worthless it is. That was the largest income tax I got back in the last 4 years. That's the largest income tax. So I saved it. I didn't cash it or nothing. You know why? Because it's only $1. That's all I got. They spent more money printing it on that paper and sending it in an envelope in the tree they destroyed, for me to what, cash $1? You know what I mean? Whatever, but that's the largest income tax I got back in like the last 4 years. So, um, but it's worthless, and it's worthless because it is a check. It's not worthless if I cash it. It's worth $1. It's worthless sitting right there. It's the same with DNA. If it's sitting in your refrigerator, it's worthless until you do something with it. So I encourage anybody who's got DNA, get it tested. Why'd you collect it then? You know what I mean? Might as well throw it away. There's many times. I'm not a poo-poo expert. Y'all seen it in videos. I come across scat and I'll take a photo of it. I'll check it out and stuff. Yeah, it is ridiculous, isn't it? $1. So, anyways, you know, but I don't collect it. The reason why is I don't collect it. I'll document it, especially if it's something strange. Okay, that doesn't look like bear scat. It doesn't look like deer scat. It doesn't look like fox scat. I'll document it, but I'm not going to collect it because I know I'm not going to send it off to get DNA tested. I think that's just an expense that I can't make at this time. But if there's somebody that says, "Hey, Rick, you collect it, send it to me. I'll test it. I'll collect it. I'll send it to you." You know what I mean? Just don't be surprised if you get a shoebox full of poop. I'm just saying, you know. Um, so that's where we're at on science. I think one of the things I think that irritates me the most of all with the science is people say, "Why use science in my research?" What are you using that's scientific? Um, I document, I measure. I have a journal where I write down as much information as I can about the environment, what was the temperature that day, what time of day, different things. I jot this stuff down. I jot down what equipment I use to document and stuff like that, and stuff like. But you got people that say, "Well, you know, I collect hair and I look at it under a microscope." Well, then what is your knowledge? Second of all, if I go out and buy a microscope and I bring hair, I don't know what the hell I'm looking at. I don't have a directory to put that in there to find what it actually is, and you have to have that information. You can't just look at it and say this is Bigfoot hair because it doesn't have this or it doesn't have that. You'll be surprised how many shows I've seen where they've done that on a microscope and showed a hair, and I know exactly what it is when I look at it. And I've done past videos. Me and Jimmy Barr are in the woods a couple times. We've done this video. When we find it, there is a moss that grows on hardwoods. It doesn't grow on pines and all that. It usually grows on hardwoods. It looks just like hair. It's long, it's tough, and it looks just like hair. I mean, you held it up, you'd swear to God I pulled this out of somebody's head. Looks just like hair, but it's not. It's biological. It is a plant that grows on these hardwoods, and it looks just like hair. If you go back to one of my older videos, I think it says PSA. It's a public service announcement. We go over that. We're holding it in our hand, and you'll look at it going, "That's hair." It's not hair. It is a plant, and it's really cool because Jimmy and Bobby had this great story where they're out researching with some other researchers. They're like, "Yeah, we're going to get into this. We're going to learn some stuff, blah blah blah." And they found an area where they found a ton of this, and they're like, "Holy crap! It's like this thing shedded all over the place. There's tons of this. What the hell, you know?" We'll come to find out it's a plant. It's a type of moss, I think, but it's a plant, and it looks just like hair. So I'm sure there's a lot of people, and I've seen them go on microscopes, and they show this, and I'm like, I know exactly what that is. I know exactly what that is, but they want to claim it's Bigfoot hair. I've had people go to a fence, pull hair off a barbed wire fence, saying, "Oh, look, we got hair, and they're putting it in baggies and stuff." And I'm looking at this fence, and there's 10 cows on the other side of that fence. 10, 15, 20 cows, a whole herd of cows. You're going to tell me that's Bigfoot hair, but not a cow hair? Come on. You see what I'm saying? So I draw red flags all the time, like, well, and that has actually happened. I was on site, uh, might be, I don't know what that is, Dirt Road. It literally looks like you wrote down that you sneezed. You that's what it looks like. I don't know what that is, but I was literally out. Matter of fact, I was with Carrie Arnold at that time, and we were sitting there, talking and stuff, and people were collecting hair off these fences. And then the first thing Carrie said was, "That's cow hair," and I looked at him. I said, "Yeah, I know." You know what I mean? But these people, other people were very excited about it. They're bagging it up and stuff like that and stuff. But it's nothing. It's not even cow hair unless you get it tested. See what I'm saying? So if you're going to collect that type of science, then you need to do that. I think another thing, you know, and I think the greatest quote I've ever heard in the Bigfoot community was from Jeff Meldrum, and um, he made this comment that you can't solve an unknown with an unknown. Okay. And that stuck with me forever. You know what I mean? And when I got to meet Jeff Meldrum and I spoke to him, I told him that comment has always stuck with me. And what he means by that is, if you can't explain something, don't create another unknown to explain the unknown that you don't know. See what I'm saying? Um, that's where um, some of you guys, I'm not here to upset anybody. I'm not here to bash on anybody or anything like that. But this is where my belief is that the quote quantum Bigfoot, with Ron Moorhead, I have his book. I've read the book. Um, it's wrong. It's not correct. He's trying to solve an unknown with an unknown. Um, that is not science in Bigfoot research. Quantum physics is not the science you want to use looking for a biological creature. Quantum physics is math, and it's a theory. It has not been proven. Even physicists that are in quantum physics will tell you they're trying to solve quantum physics, but it's quantum physics is everything around us. It's everything. It's this computer. It's this fan. It's me. It's you. So you're taking something that's so broad and so general and saying that's that's what Bigfoot uses and stuff like that. You know what I mean? If you get into the metaphysical, that they're interdimensional and they're disappearing and they're in stuff like that, or they're cloaking, or they're flying away in UFOs and stuff like that. Basically, you're solving an unknown with an unknown. See what I'm saying? To date, there has never been a film or a video of a portal, a Sasquatch going into a porthole, or anything like that. There is no evidence to that. It's just people creating an answer. That's why I tell you guys, I'm big on telling you. I'll look at you and say, I don't know. I am no expert in this field. There are no experts in this field. I sat at the Bigfoot conference last year on stage in front of who knows how many people, and told every single one of them that there is no experts in this field. Jeff Meldrum is an expert in anthropology and bipedal motion. Okay. That's his expertise, but that's not the whole Bigfoot field. See what I'm saying? Um, Other people, big names, Ron Moorhead, everything, he recorded the Sierra sounds, but did that, just recording that, does that make him an expert in the field? Absolutely not. If somebody says that they're an expert in this, well, then I've got a lot of questions to ask you, because if you're an expert, then evidently you've got the answers. There's no experts in this field. That's why I think it's pride and it's egos from researchers that won't look at you and say, I don't know. They think that just because you ask them a question, they have to have an answer for it. Okay. And that's not true. Okay. You can ask me, what's the gestation period of a Sasquatch? I'm going to say, I have no idea. I have no idea. Now we can assume it's the same as a gorilla, which is 9 months. A human is 9 months. So let's say it's some kind of hybrid of both, or it's a. I'm really standing on it's a what they call a proto human, okay, which is basically another entity that has lived alongside of us. I don't think it has any relation with us or anything else. It is its own entity. It's called a proto-human. You can look it up. When you see the definition of it, it really fits. Um, and But I don't know what its gestation period is. I don't know. There's a lot of aspects about this creature we don't know, and hopefully in my lifetime we do know. We find out and we learn and we figure out that this thing is real. This thing is alive. And this thing is here, and it's always been here. You know what I mean? You go back. I had somebody ask me the other day. They said, "Well, how long do you think it's been here?" I think it's been here a very long time. And I use the Seminole Indians. I'm in Florida, so this is where the Seminole Indians are from. Okay, the Seminole Indians have a name for Sasquatch. It's called the St. Kapkaki. Okay, that's their term for a Sasquatch, and what that means is tall, hairy man in Seminole. And when you go back and how long have the Seminoles? Now we believe that this creature's been here long before humans were here, and the Seminole Indian tribe goes back 14,000 years. Okay, so this thing is older than that. Okay, um, I think it's its own entity. I think it's always been here. Matter of fact, I've talked about it. I have the documentation. If anybody ever wants to see it, maybe I'll post it on a video so that you guys can watch the video and read these notes. But these are notes directly from um, the Florida legislature. When they were in session, the House was in session back in the 1970s, and the whole discussion was about the skunk ape. What are we going to do about it? What are we going to call it? What are some of there was a whole discussion on it on the Florida House floor. See what I'm saying? There was actually a statute created, which has now been removed. Okay, but that form does mention the statute number. I did go back to research that statute number, and it's really weird because you have all the statutes up to that number and after that number, but that number is gone. You cannot look up anything on that statute. And I'll put that on someday. I'll put that online and say, hey, if anybody can find the information on this Florida statute, I'd love to see it. But this paperwork talks about this discussion that was made about the skunk ape. And that was back in the 1970s, where people were having these sightings. People were seeing these things in areas that you wouldn't see today. For example, in Coral Springs, Florida, which is in the Broward County, Fort Lauderdale area, very populated place. There's 2 million people in Broward County. Well, back in the 1970s, it was not a populated area whatsoever. And so there was a lot of forest. The Everglades went right up into Broward County, and there were sightings back then. But as we're moving to Florida because it's beautiful, it pushed the Everglades back. Of course, these creatures were pushed back as well. That's our biggest, scientifically, that's the biggest thing, is that we're encroaching on these creatures. And right now I want to say it's in Palm Beach County, there's discussion that they, are going to take land that are preserves or are at currently protected land, and they're going to sell it and start building on it. And they're going to build golf courses. They got this plan to build numerous golf courses throughout the state on these lands that we're researching. So now we're encroaching even further. That's why I always feel this need to figure this out as quickly as possible so we can stop this from happening. You know what I mean? Because I think everything belongs where it's at. I think everything needs a home. And if we're out there encroaching on this land, we're going to make these things extinct. Right now I would probably classify them as endangered. I don't think there's a million of them. So I think they're endangered, and it's up to us as the humans that are the cancer on this planet that seems to destroy everything, that we need to protect them. If we can destroy things, then we can protect things, and that's what we think. That's what we need to do. We need to focus on that area. You know what I mean? That's why I really, really push for you guys to get in the woods, get out there, take part in nature, because it's going away. It's going away. Teach your kids, take them camping, show them what roughing it really is. Put away the phones and the iPads and the Game Boys and all these different things that kids play with and keeps their mind off of what's going on around them. Take them in the woods. Take them in the woods. Within a day, they're you're going to see a change in a child. You're going to, because I see a change in me when I go out. You know what I mean? And thank you, Don. And it's very important. Nature is amazing, and we're losing it. It's one of the most fantastic things that we have around us that we can do that's inexpensive. You can find a preserve that doesn't cost anything to go into and take your family for a hike. Just, be aware that you may be one of the lucky ones that walks across one of these creatures. You know what I mean? 99, you can look at any report or listen to anybody's tale of their encounter, and 99% of it is passive. It's passive. And it happened in happenstance. I happened to be walking the dog in the woods and this thing walked out in front of me. I happened to be, hiking up to my favorite spot to take photographs and this thing walked out in front of me. I was in my tree stand hunting and this thing walked in front of me. It's always happenstance, and it's very rarely something of life and death. Are there aggressive behaviors? Absolutely. You know what I mean? I think they have thrown things at people, and I think they do hit trees with, another tree to throw it at it and say, "Hey, I'm here, leave me alone," or they may bluff charge and stuff like that. But did they attack you? Did they hurt you? Almost every one of these sightings, they left the woods. They were scared because that's what the Sasquatch wanted from you. He wanted you scared and he wanted you out of the area, and that's what you did. So now you have a story to tell because you survived. But if he wanted to hurt you, if he wanted to kill you or do harm or whatever, they can. They can do it very easily without any problem. But they're not. See what I'm saying? They're not doing that. Now, am I saying that it hasn't happened? Absolutely. I believe it has happened. I believe people are in the wrong place at the wrong time. Maybe you walk up just like a bear, you walked up on them and they had their children with them and all of a sudden they felt threatened. Or maybe you were out hunting and you shot at one and then you went back to your camp and they decided to come to your camp and take revenge on you. I think those things are plausible, and I do believe in some cases they have happened. There's a research area. Now, I've never went back to research this story or not, but it was told to me by another researcher. Was this one area that we go to? It's huge. It's like 90,000 acres. It's really big. They've had in the last 20 years or something like that, 25 years, 17 people have gone missing out there. That's a high number for 90,000 acres that these people disappear. Um, don't know why, don't know what's going on. People can go out there and commit suicide and you just don't find their body, whatever. Things happen. But on this one occasion, it was during hunting season. There was two hunters hunting and they were camping out there. These two guys did not know each other and they were not camped near each other. They were a mile or two away from me. They were not near each other. Okay. Both of them. One of the theories is why they were out there. They took a shot at one of these things because this thing has been sighted multiple times out there. I know researchers have gone out there and have had sightings with these things out there. We have caught some amazing stuff out there. So it is a very active area. What makes it really active is the fact that even though it's 90,000 acres, they can't go anywhere. It's completely surrounded by either flat for miles farmland, where if you walked across it, you're going to be seen easily, or it's residential areas. So they are stuck in this 90,000 acres. Okay. So people have sightings. And if these hunters shot at them, these things might have taken it as a threat and they retaliated. There was another case, which I did get to see this when it was on the news. I read the newspaper clippings, but a guy, his body was found and it was just torn to shreds. His body, his arms, legs, everything was just torn to shreds. Okay. They actually found it was either arm and a leg a mile away. Okay. What did it? Don't know. See what I'm saying? So is this thing capable of doing something? Absolutely. Absolutely. But I think it's for a reason. Even humans, you can take the most passive person, and you can make them extremely aggressive. You just got no the right buttons to push, or the right things to do, and that person will revert back to violence. That's a human nature. And why should these things be any different? A bear isn't any different. A bear is very a passive creature. If it hears you, smells you, whatever, it usually goes in the other direction. But if you're um, upwind from it, it doesn't smell you, and you happen to walk up on it and it has its cubs, it's going to get aggressive very quickly. Those things happen. Those are natural consequences and stuff. Do you think the missing people fall under the missing 411? I don't know. I don't know. I got the opportunity to meet David Pilates at the Ocala Bigfoot conference 2 years ago. I'm not a big fan, and it's a really simple reason why I'm not a big fan of Dave Pilates. Is one, I don't like anything that builds fear of the woods at all. I don't want people to fear the woods. I want you guys to go out there and enjoy the woods. And if you listen to their stories and you watch those videos and stuff like that, it's really based on fear that this could happen to you. And state parks and national parks are very scary and things can happen. Um, but there has been stories and people have done deep dives on some of his stuff, and he takes a lot of liberties in those stories. A lot of those stories where he ends it where this person was never found. Come to find out when you research it, they were found later on, either dead or alive. They were found, or when they found them, they it was natural causes or something like that. They had a health condition or something like that. When people are selling books and selling videos and making money, that's their livelihood. They're going to take certain liberties, okay, and not tell you 100% truth, or they may divert the truth a little bit and stuff like that. And I just don't like that. You know what I mean? But the biggest reason is the fear. I don't want anybody to fear the woods at all. You know, um, things happen. You have more of a chance of getting hurt by a natural animal that you would come across, like a Florida panther or especially a hog. I would say that's number one on my list of running across a hog and that thing running me down, and I can't get up a tree fast enough. Um, a hog will absolutely, not only will a hog kill you, they'll eat you when they're done. They Once you're dead, they're all the hogs are going to come out, and there's not going to be anything left of you. See what I'm saying? Dogs or hogs are very, very. I got to stop saying hogs. I got to start saying pigs or swine. I did a video one time where I'm talking. I had found it's in one of my videos. It'll say, I think the title is warning graphic footage or something like that, because I found a dead pig, not a very large one. I want to say 20, 25 pounds. And its back legs were broken. There was nothing that I could tell was wrong. There was no claw marks. There was no bite marks or anything like that. It was just the back legs were broken and this thing was dead. Um, which was very strange to me. I documented it and stuff like that. But in that video, I kept saying, it's about a 20, 25-pound hog and blah, blah, blah. Well, I had a lady jump on my video and comment and say, well, I think you're a liar and I'm going to unsubscribe because there's no such thing as a 20 or 25-pound hawk. And then somebody else jumped on and said, he didn't say hawk. He said hog, swine, pig. So the next video I did, I was walking through the woods and I was like, well, I hope I don't come across a pig. I didn't want to say the word hog because I guess my Southern accent made it sound like I said hawk. You know what I mean? So I got to be careful when I say that. I don't know if hawks get 20 or 25 pounds. I'm not really worried about them. Except when I fly my drone, they will attack your drone. So I got to be a little bit cautious of that and stuff like that. But like I said, with science, the majority of the science is documentation. Just document, document, document. Time of day, temperature. If you have an area where you had a lot of activity in this particular month, the following year, you're like, I got to get out there that particular month because if these things are migratory or these things are whatever, I have a higher chance of spotting one during that period of time. See what I'm saying? So I think documenting is the most important thing to do. I document everything. You don't see everything in the videos because I'm out there for 4 hours or whatever, and I'm out there, filming. I'm out there doing certain things. I can't send you guys a 4-hour video of everything I do out there. Nobody's going to watch a 4-hour video. So I have to reduce it to something more palatable. So I try to stay under 30 minutes, but a lot of times it's 40, 45 minutes, but very rarely longer than that. because it's not palatable. So you don't get to see everything that we do. You know what I mean? Even one time me and Jimmy went out. We were out there, for at least 4 hours. But when we did the video, when I put out the video, it's 30, 40 minutes long because there's no way I can put out a 4 hour video. It's just impossible. You know what I mean? And especially I'm cautious about certain things that are said. I try to keep things where if kids do watch the channel, I don't want a lot of profanities and I don't want certain things and stuff like that. I don't want YouTube violations. So if something happens, I don't want you seeing a pistol in the camera and stuff like that. And then they flag me for something violent or something like that. So there's a lot of things that you got to be aware of when you're out there filming and stuff like that. And yes, I do go out there with a pew pew every single time. And it's mostly, like I said, for hogs or anything else. If I do get attacked by a bear, or come across a bear, and I want to make sure I'm okay. I want to make sure I come out there. Y'all notice 90% of the time I go out in the woods, I'm by myself. And the worst case scenario is something happens to me out there, and I'm by myself. I have no help. I've got to find my own way out. I got to find my own way to. If I'm injured, I got to find a way to fix myself and get out of there. Usually where I go, I don't have good cell phone. The footage is horrible. I can film and stuff like that. But if I wanted to go live or something like that, I don't have Wi-Fi. I don't have anything. And that can lead to problems and stuff like that. So that's pretty much what I had to say. If y'all got questions, throw them at me. I'll answer some questions and stuff like that. And, this is the part where, it's just an open discussion. The best I could do is give you my opinion. So if you want to, start asking some questions and stuff, we've got currently 8 people in the chat. Not everybody's in the chat room, but people are watching and stuff like that. So it was as high as 10 there for a minute. That's pretty good. I like that. I gave shout outs to, did I miss in a shout out? I got Dawn, Sunshine. She's awesome. We got Dirt Road. That's my boy right there. Dirt Road. Sharon, Alan. Who else that we got here? A lot of great things going. Like I said, the podcast, we talked about that at the beginning of the show. Please, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Get the word out. Thank you, Don. Love you too. Sasquatch Encounter Brigade. There's my boy. That's Johnny Two Bears. Everybody say hi, Johnny. Everybody write hi, Johnny. I want Johnny to say, everybody say hi, Johnny. Johnny's my guy. I love this guy to death. I posted a picture of me up in a tree one time. I had a lady that thought I was saying it was a Sasquatch in a tree. I told her I figured the jeans and the t-shirt was a good clue it wasn't a Sasquatch. It would be a good giveaway for me. You know what I mean? Johnny up in a tree in a pair of Daisy Dukes and a t-shirt with a knot in the front. Everybody give Johnny a shout out. Hey, Johnny, I went over the podcast and everything else. If you want to watch the beginning of the show when it's done, we're excited about it. Johnny's excited about it. We're going to make things happen. We're going to enjoy ourselves. The great thing, and like I said, you got to understand, Johnny's a great guy, and I'm doing this because I trust Johnny, and Johnny's a great guy, and we understand each other. We're on the same page on a lot of things. Doesn't necessarily mean we agree with everything. We're on the same page a lot. Hi, everyone. I'm just stopping by to say hello. Everybody say hi, Johnny. That's Johnny Two Bears, and but I'm going to tell you, and I've said this to Johnny before, and I'll say it again. The reason, what really drew me to Johnny, and I was watching his channel way back, and watching what he was doing and stuff like that. And I was a small itty bitty channel. I wasn't, be lucky if I had 10 people. And but what got me was Johnny had put out something. I don't remember what it was, but he had put out some evidence and stuff like that. And literally, it was a short period of time. I want to say it was less than a week or two later. He comes back on and he says, guys, I made a mistake. I went back, I reviewed it, I really critiqued it really hard, and this is what it is. I thought it was something else, but it wasn't. That showed integrity. Not only, he could have let it run. But he didn't. he came on and critiqued his own evidence and said, I was wrong. And that meant the world to me. I was like, there you go. That's the type of researchers that I want to associate with. And I hit him up. We chat. One thing led to another. We were talking, quite frequently. He came down here with his guys. We got together. We did this research one weekend. We turned around, went up there to Georgia to his location, and we just became great friends. And for him to ask me to be his co-host is just phenomenal. I probably wasn't his first choice, but I'm the one that said yes. So we're gonna have a good time. And Johnny's a good guy, and we discussed it the other day. We got to have fun with this. We got to enjoy ourselves. There's a serious side. We're going to be serious, and like I said, we're going at this as researchers. So when somebody comes on the show and they talk about something, we're looking at it as a research point of view. So we're going to ask very specific questions at the end of the show and talk to this person and stuff like that. So he goes, yes, you were the only one I asked. You don't have a lot of friends, do you, Johnny? I'm the only one you asked. You ain't got a lot of friends, But we're gonna have fun with it too. We're gonna have a good time, and but we're looking at it as researchers. Johnny and me are not podcasters. We're researchers doing this, okay. Our milk and butter. What we like to do is being out in the woods, doing what we do. So, like I said, if you're not subscribed to Sasquatch Encounter Brigade, subscribe to his channel. See what Johnny's doing. You're subscribed to my channel. Go to BFFG Bigfoot Research and subscribe and see what I'm doing. The podcast is just where we're meeting in the middle and collaborating together on a podcast to talk to other researchers and also talk to your encounters. So if you have an encounter, if you want to come out in the open and say, hey, look, I had a sighting and this is what happened, hit us up at Sasquatch UNredacted at gmail.com and send us an email and we'll get you on the show and we'll talk about it. You know what I mean? The more people that are out there and open and discussing this topic, the more evidence we get out there, the more, because that's where it all starts. You got to have a sighting. That's where it all starts. That's what got people into researching, is because there was a sighting. You know what I mean? Or there was enough evidence that said this thing does exist, and I want to be a researcher because I want to see it. See what I'm saying? Either way works. I forgot who said it, but they made that comment that there is enough evidence to support the existence of Sasquatch that he would be convicted in a court of law. There's enough evidence that he would be convicted in a court of law. So, but they want to ignore it. Mainstream wants to ignore that this thing, we're all kooky. If I come to somebody and I make a comment and they say, hey, so what do you do as a hobby? What do you do on the weekends? Well, I like to go hiking and camping. I like the outdoors. I like spending time in the outdoors and stuff like that. Nobody thinks you're crazy. But as soon as I slip in the word, and I also look for Bigfoot, all of a sudden you're a nut. All of a sudden you're crazy. See what I'm saying? I wasn't crazy up to the point where I said that. You know what I mean? So that's the mainstream side of it. So the more people that are crazy, the better. Come out, tell your stories, tell us what's going on. Like I said, not necessarily, if you're a researcher, you don't have to tell us the location. We get that. And if you're somebody that is at your house or it's in the property around your house, of course you don't want to give us your location because you don't want people showing up at your house. So, but tell us what's going on. Let us know what's going on, because we're going to accumulate this everything you tell us is being accumulated as evidence. See what I'm saying? I think Johnny had made the comment, he said, dude, we get 100 of these affidavits. These people are saying this is the truth. How can you deny these 100 people? There's 100 people. And that's something that we can grasp onto and hold this and say, here's 100 people that are saying this thing exists. They're saying that they saw it. They're saying they had an experience with this thing. So it's really important. Like I said, not mandatory. We'd like you to sign it, but you don't have to. We're not going to, disown you or discredit you or anything like that because you don't. We're not. We're still interested in what you have to say and stuff like that. If you don't want to be on the show, please email us and tell us your experience anyways. Maybe we'll leave you out of it and we'll read it and let people know, hey, we got hit up and this is what they said, blah, 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 blah. But it's only through an email. We're not going to give out the name. We're not going to give out the email address. But this is what they told us. This is what they're telling us had happened. You know, um, like I said, it's free. It's an email. You know what I mean? Um, if you haven't, please do. We've got the YouTube channel up for the podcast. It's Sasquatch Unredacted Podcast. Please check it out. Like I said, if we can get people to subscribe quickly and we start getting some content out, the channel will, like I said, meet those criterias where we can do more. And I think the first criteria, it's got to get over 500 before I can do even more on the YouTube channel. We also have a Facebook page. Go to Sasquatch Unredacted on Facebook, and please, that's where we're going to post stuff like upcoming guests or upcoming shows or what we're going to be doing and stuff like that. So please help us out. You know what I mean? My channel's doing really well. Johnny's channel is doing outstanding. But between the two channels, you got 5,000, subscribers. If just 10% of that would jump onto the podcast, it would greatly help us out. It really would. So there said something like that. Did you say when you're going to bring a group out with you? I'm always open for people who want to go out with me. Always open for it. You know, I like small units, just a couple of people and stuff like that, because things can get hectic and stuff like that. It's free. I don't charge anybody. If you want to come out, I don't mind going hiking and showing you some things and explaining some things and stuff like that. Gives you your first taste of what actual research is and getting out there and stuff like that. So I have no issue with it. I'm just letting people know I'm in South Florida. So unless you're in South Florida, it's probably not going to happen. So, all right, Johnny, take care, buddy. Johnny's going to bed. Everybody say good night, Johnny. He's old. He's old. He goes to bed. No, he's younger than I am. When is the best time of the year? If you were to ask me right now is the best time of the year. Temperatures are freaking amazing. You have no idea how bad it killed me to be at work today. It was perfect day to be in the woods. Unbelievable. It was freezing in the morning. It was 42 degrees when I get up in the morning to go to work. But man, by 10 o'clock, God, it was gorgeous. I could have been out in the woods all day. It's so gorgeous. But if you go out in, June, July, and August or something like that, it is unbearably hot. It feels like you can't keep yourself hydrated enough. Mosquitoes are eating you up and stuff like that. I go out in those conditions all the time. But if you were going to ask me what was the best time to go as far as my comfort, it would be this time of the year. Now, as far as evidence, what's the best time of the year as evidence? I have not accumulated enough information to tell me what month is better than any other month. The stuff that I find is always spontaneous. I end up going in an area, checking out a new area, and all of a sudden I find a really nice footprint, or I find a really amazing arch, and I don't know how this arch was formed or something like that. So that's the difficult part. You're talking about an elusive creature, very elusive, something that's, like I said, in my book, it's endangered. So it's already hard to find, and it doesn't want to be found. So that makes it tough. There was here in Texas as well. Yeah, Texas is a good area, a very good area, especially, I'm told, the area that borders Texas and Louisiana. There's an area up there. There's a name for that area. You might know it. They say that's really good. That area is really good. Because Louisiana has some sightings and stuff like that. Florida is really great because it ranks third. It ranks third in the nation in sightings. So you have, Washington and Northern California is 1 and 2. And then you have Florida. Even Florida beats Oregon and stuff like that, even though Oregon is where I want to go. If I could ever afford it and work that out, I would love to go to Oregon for like 5 days camping, kayaking, and doing nothing but research. Yeah, I know that's where you're from, Don. Yep, that's why I mentioned it. The stories I could tell you from Louisiana. Yeah, Louisiana is what is it? The Rougarou. They got the Rougarou. So yeah, there's a lot of great places. Georgia's a great place. Johnny has proved that. Georgia's a great place. Alabama's a great place. North Carolina, there's a place up there that I didn't realize that I possibly maybe had some kind of interaction with a Sasquatch in the Uwharrie National Forest in North Carolina. Um, I don't know, but once you get into this and you start talking to people, you start to look back at past experiences and you go, wait a minute, I could have probably had something happen. And what it was I was on a squirrel hunt with me and three other guys in the Marine Corps. So we go up there to do the squirrel hunt. We get up there, it's 13 degrees. It's freezing. We had a one of these giant things full of fresh water. That's what we were gonna cook with, clean with, and drink. It was rock solid the very first morning we woke up when we spent the night. The first morning we woke up, that thing was rock solid. So it was that cold. So we didn't get any. It was a squirrel hunt. We were out there for 3 or 4 days. Never saw one squirrel. It was just too cold. They're up somewhere hiding and keeping warm. But I decided to go on a hike by myself. I was fully camoed out, had my rifle, and I was working my way on this trail around this small mountain area, with this jetting boulders and stuff like that. And I was starting to get a little, sweaty, and that's the last thing you want to do in cold temperatures like that is sweat. A lot of people, I'm telling you, don't sweat. If you start to get hot and sweat, stop, relax, cool down, and then go again. Because if you start to sweat, hypothermia will set in. So I decided to sit on this boulder and just chill. And I was sitting there enjoying nature and stuff like that. And I was on this trail, but it was a ravine going down, and then it went up to another ravine up another mountain. So let's say, I don't know, 200 yards across or something like that. All of a sudden, something starts coming down that mountainside, and I see the trees. It's just crashing through trees. Trees are moving, moving, and moving all the way down this hill till it gets to the bottom, and it stops. Whatever it was didn't come out, it just stopped. I always racked it up to a boulder gave loose. On the other side, I'm sitting on boulders. I'm looking at boulders. A boulder must have came loose and rolled down the hill, and it was bouncing off trees like that game on Price is Right. And at some point, it lodged and stopped. But when I talk to other people and we talk about past things, they're like, nah, man, you got bluff charged. You know what I mean? Granted, I have no proof of that. It's just their opinion on what took place. But it does make you think. It makes you go back and wonder, is that a possibility? You know what I mean? I can't rule it out, but I can't say it is. You know what I mean? Unless I see a Bigfoot do it, I'm not going to call it a Bigfoot. I do that with everything I do. Um, Even on this last video I did a couple weeks ago when I was able to get in the woods, I put it in there. I'm sitting there in a chair with my tripod and I'm just relaxing. I'm just chilling, nice and quiet. And I heard a vocal. A lot of times you got to put it on headphones on my videos, but I heard it clearly. I went back when I was editing, and I always edit with headphones, and I could hear it clearly on the headphones. So I'm glad I caught it. But if you're just listening to it on television or something like that, you probably won't hear it. But go back, because I did put a text on there, loud vocal, when it happened, so you'll be able to shut your eyes and pay attention and listen to it. Can I say it was a Bigfoot? Absolutely not. I didn't see you do it. See what I'm saying? So that's one of the things where integrity comes in. And I tell you guys, I don't know what did it. It's very strange. I don't understand it. That day, I was getting a lot of vocals. I got there very early in the morning. It was very quiet. And as soon as I started, I walk in on the same entrance every time. So you see a lot of videos. They start out the same way. I'm walking down this trail, letting you guys know, hey, I'm here. This is what we're going to be doing, blah, blah, blah. And that morning, I heard vocals to my right, pretty far back. I would say at least a couple hundred yards back. But I heard something. I went, so I started to record. Hopefully it happened again. It didn't happen again. So I started walking again. I had a goal to get to this one water source that I had only ever been to one time. It's way, way in the back of this property. And on the way there, heard it again. You know what I mean? Which is kind of spooky. So I'm like, okay, is this thing following me? Is this thing, paralleling me? What is this thing? And then it wasn't until I was sitting there And this is an hour later after the last one, so it hadn't happened in an hour, hour and a half. And I'm sitting there and I'm filming, and you watch me in the video. I'm like, oh, did you hear that? You know what I mean? God, I hope I got that. Because I'm filming at that time, and the thing does really good on audio. So hopefully I caught it, and I think I did. So I got home, checked it. Sure enough, I caught it. So go back and look at that. If you go back to my earlier stuff from 300, 400 videos or whatever I'm up to now, you go out to the beginning, you'll see where it's a picture of the audio equipment, this little digital recorder. Go back and listen to those audios. Um, they're some of them pretty crazy. I heard the hill country in Texas is good. I don't know that this is what I've been told. I don't know. I couldn't tell you a whole lot about Texas. I couldn't. I just know that there are a lot of research groups in Texas, and I've heard a lot of sightings come out of Texas. So, but there's sightings in every state, every single state. There's sightings. You know what I mean? Some I question. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense to me that there would be sightings there. Another one that seems to be really good is Pennsylvania, or upstate New York. There's a lot of I've been to upstate New York, and there's a lot of forests up there, beautiful rolling hills and stuff like that. So not what I imagined what New York looked like, because we all like Florida. Everybody thinks Miami and Tampa and all that, or Orlando. I'm always thinking of New York. I'm thinking New York City and the Bronx and all that stuff. And I go up there and there's just gorgeous forests up there in the northern part of the state and stuff like that, going into other states and stuff like that. I would love to go to Vermont. I'd love to go to Maine. There's places I'd like to go. Of course, those are places I'll go in the summer. I don't do well in winter. But I definitely want to go to Oregon. That's number one on my list. Zero desire to go to Canada. Zero. So I let Todd Standing take care of that. So any questions, throw them at me. Anything. You got my full attention right now. It's only 7:36. I don't have to go to bed, for a little bit. So because I do have to work tomorrow, but I got time. So if you want to throw some questions at me, open discussion, throw it at me. Give me what you want. And like I said, best you're going to get is my opinion. That's it. But I'm willing to talk to you. I wish I could go to Canada. Wouldn't that be fun? Be fun for some people, not me. I think it's beautiful. Don't get me wrong. I think Canada is gorgeous. A lot of wilderness and stuff like that. It's just one of those places I've just never had a desire to go to. Right up there with Las Vegas. Never had any desire to go to Las Vegas. So that's one of the states I'm iffy about on these sightings. You know, Nevada and Arizona. I know there's a lot of mountains and stuff, but it's a lot of barren area out there and heat and stuff like that. I don't know. Don't know. I think if I was a Sasquatch, I want to go where I can hide. I want to go where there's food sources and water sources that are plentiful. And, so I think a lot of the southern states, and East Coast states and West Coast states have that. So um, don't get me started on that. um, Anything else? Anybody? So we got 5 people left. So if you got something, throw it at me. I'd be more than happy to answer. If not, then we'll call it a night or whatever. It's been a great conversation. I had a lot of fun. You guys are awesome every single time. You guys are amazing. I ask great questions. You're interactive. You're so respectful. You know, awesome, awesome. I hope this carries over to the podcast. Like I said, please help us out with that. Get the word out, spread it out, let people know. Say, hey, this podcast, it's a new one, it's coming out. These guys are great. Whatever. Lie. I don't care. No, I'm great. Um, so we're gonna have a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it. December 8th is the date. Keep it on your calendar. December 8th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hopefully that comes off without a hitch, and we're able to do it on that day. And we don't have a lot of problems or issues or anything like that. So looking forward to it. We're now at the stage where we're doing some practice runs. We're going to get the StreamYard going, and we're going to do some practice and see what we can do and stuff like that. So find out where we need to work on, what issues we have, stuff like that. So just bear with us, and it's a growing process, and we're going to get better and better and better because that's how me and Johnny are. We strive to be the best that we can be. So all right. So if that's it, I want to wish all you guys a fantastic weekend. Sorry, I got to work tomorrow. Um, I just wish the best for each of you guys, and you have wonderful lives. And get out there and enjoy wilderness, enjoy nature, enjoy your lives. And God bless each and every one of you guys. And I will see you guys soon. Hopefully, uh, next weekend's a holiday, so I don't know if you'll see a lot from me. It is Thanksgiving weekend, a lot of people traveling and stuff like that. But the following weekend after that, fingers crossed, I'll have a weekend off and I will get out in the woods and I will get stuff to you as quickly as I can and what I can. So God bless each and every one of you guys. Take care, love each other, be respectful, and I will see you guys soon. Take care.